We're going to start now with the next category. It's the AI future. And the first group is Wayfinder. Okay, please go ahead.
All right, good morning, everybody. We are Elevate, and we're here to present our concept, really our application, Wayfinder 2030. I'm Jay Tony. I'm going to be presenting with Tan Ha today. We also have Liana Ip, Sabrina Tony, Cindy Tran, and Francine Malimbi. Next slide. So our question was looking at the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. There's 17, and the idea here is that we want to have these met by 2030. So we got 5 years left. One of the things that shocked us as we were doing our research into this area was that of the 17, many of them are not on track to be met by 2030. Even more surprising, many of them are actually regressing. So we're not only getting closer, we're getting further away. As we were exploring the space on the UN website, we found that the UN does possess over 8,000 documented solutions that are already being implemented or have been implemented in the past. Looking at the actual problem we're facing, we kind of saw the focus that AI could come in and be that accelerant that's needed to meet the 5-year goal, really. Going past a single solution, which is what the challenge called for, we saw a chance to come up with a concept that could encourage that rapid collaboration across the globe to do the best we can to meet that 5-year goal. You look at the manual method we were using was a perfect kind of sample for us to see how challenging it is, even with rapid internet connection, to actually sift through these documents that the UN is providing. It's very difficult to know exactly what you're looking for, to know exactly what these documents and these solutions that exist out there are actually in use for, and whether or not where they're implemented is even effective in the place that you're looking for it. Next slide. So we started considering how AI could be effective in this solution. You got the traditional search engine method where it's a keyword. You get a single page of results. You have to manually sift through this. Where AI, on the other hand, is adapting to the context that you're giving it. It has the ability to go and search multiple sources of information and give you that synthesized form, interpolate between ideas that you wouldn't necessarily be able to see immediately on your own. The big benefit we also considered was considering the right infrastructure, it could be completely offline.
Hello? Okay, so our proposed solution will be creating a search engine model which is called Wayfinder 2030. And the data collection that we'll be using is the SDG action that we're scraping from the UN website. And the SDG action provide resources, information, the contact information, and the geographic matching. And using this model will optimally help us to leverage the power of AI in a sense. So going to the structure on how we're building this model is there's two important components, is the semantic layer and the country similarity layers. In the semantic layer, we use text embedding, that embedding the solution database and then the user queries. And then when we match the user queries with the database, it's going to show the most similar result. And then on the second layers, it's going to filter down basing from the solution, and then it's going to filter down the similar countries based on the local context. So basically, if you from Brazil, and then the solution going from all around the world, right? And then when you adjust with the country similarity, it will adjust to your local region. And then after we have the top 3 solutions, we're going to have an open API that explaining like how this solution fit with your challenges or the user queries. And then we're going to show the resource, the timeline, and then the contact information. Here's a simple interface. So you're going to put down your home countries and then the challenges that you're facing. Under the advanced filter, it will filter down the countries that you want to localize. And here's the current output that we use. The solution, the challenge that we're using is quarter-based management, and then we're solving the 3 top optimal solution basing from the matching, the embedding matching. And so some detail at your fingertip is that when we scrape the data from the UN website, we focusing on the entities, the deliverable, the resources, and then the contact information that the person is doing that solution.
So if we expand this from the proof of concept that we made and consider how would you get this out into the world to where it could make an impact, we think the most responsible way to do this would be to have this be completely controlled by the United Nations, presumably the least biased governing body on the planet, right? And that's really what we're focused on, is getting unbiased information into the hands of people who need it the most. So we see this being a satellite access, not internet-based, not necessarily that it couldn't be internet connected, but you'd get these systems into places that might not have internet access, but they'd still have that information through satellite access. Next slide. And then going past that, if you extended this into what AI could really do, you're planting global seeds everywhere, and as the users interact with it, it'll start learning based on the local needs and the regional needs, and start mapping out where these solutions are most needed, and how we can share that information more quickly. Essentially, as it's evolving and it starts to get faster at recognizing the problem and the solution, we accelerate some sort of convergence to solving all these sustainable development goals.
Your time is up. If you could please just wrap it up.
Oh, less later. So why does this really matter? What's the importance of this? Well, we can see that we're only 5 years away, and I think we've all been reminded how delicately balanced cooperation is across borders. This would be a way to bypass the need of bureaucracy and just get the information and the tools as widespread as possible. Local empowerment is really what we're driving at here. So Wayfinder 2030 is a global information solution to solve any of the sustainable development goals of the United Nations. Thank you.
Nice job. Could you talk just a little bit about maybe some of the financials and business model if you were to take this to market? What would that look like?
That one's working.
So for the financial aspect of it, it's going to be a project in collaboration with the United Nations, and they have their own budgets. And usually when they create projects around the world, they use the budget to source, call for requests for proposal, and et cetera. So the financial backup, we already have it. So it's more to get the solutions around the world, and actually it's gonna be a great way to control budgets as well, because usually when you send your people on the ground, you have costs related to transportation, logi, et cetera. So the funding will be coming from the United Nations.
Just to add on that a little bit too, I think something that we talked about as a team was when it comes to the financial aspect, one of the things that we know is kind of on the back burner for them, or kind of in focus, is like using Copilot and different kinds of companies like that with these kinds of methods. This would essentially be like a ground up, infrastructure that they could build themselves and then implement and share resources. So for us, it's more about sharing information because that's its own kind of resource. So we were more focused on that kind of element of it, and then the UN would kind of come in and obviously use their more powerful resources to build something that's a little bit more comprehensive. Like right now it's localized on the system that they built, but and that was just from web scraping alone. We realized after that they have so many databases or data sets and stuff that we could have used. Granted, we only had 48 hours, but the web scraping itself was its own feat. So being able to do that with resources with their actual data sets would have, it's gonna probably blow up into something bigger than that. But.
Well done, guys. Great job. And this is a huge issue worldwide. Sustainability is a massive undertaking. So well done, and well done for approaching this issue. And I understand there are a lot of nuances with this, but would your system offer any sort of implementation guidelines on any sort of the data resources that it finds, or is it purely just for information?
Well, I don't want to tell the UN how to do their job. I think that they're qualified to be serious about it. I think
Fair enough, though.
Yeah. No, the idea that we kept bumping into was, the accessibility of it is really the biggest deal to us. We make it this nice streamlined application that to us is intuitive to use, right? To somebody who is intermittent internet access or no internet access at all, this is completely new. So one of the ideas we kind of approached just conceptualizing was the UN having the resources to, before they send these out, depending on the region they're sending it to, would be to have teams that are very familiar with the region come in and kind of develop a translation almost so that we can calibrate culturally the user interaction on the front end and the back end. So the core of the model will have the same embedded language that it's communicating with, but that translation of input and the translation of output is tuned to the specific cultural semantics that are so diverse across the planet. So that would be really an implementation idea that we have discussed, yes.
Another thing I just want to add. So we also saw this as a tool to kind of streamline the communication translation, not just through culture and language, but also through like socioeconomic status. Like I think it's very interesting when we were considering that the United Nations is at a certain level of, they don't have tier 1 needs not being met, like food, water, and stuff, but we're also discussing these issues as if we are, right? And I think that kind of translation issue is kind of what prevents information from funneling a lot quicker down or up from the people who need the help, and then back down from the people who have the resources to make that happen. So we see the tool as being something that can be implemented from the local level of like, we talked about the farmer who needs help with water, which is kind of what our solution was based on, was like, it's a farmer in Brazil, but they were given, resources and options in India and, all these different, and South Korea. And so it was based though on, economic factors that we don't get to see. And that's part of what the AI is doing, is to like bridge those gaps that maybe we're not seeing intuitively, that might work for people. So.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank
Thank
you.
you.